Remember where this is at. To Cowboys. Obviously, Dalvin Cook, one of the bigger free agents that's left, I would say between him and Michael Thomas, like one of the more established fantasy football names that was left before the season started here. And Dalvin Cook last year, I thought he could have a strong season with the Jets, with Aaron Rodgers in that offense. Obviously, it did not happen. And, that's a guy that was coming off of a 1,000-yard season just before that with Minnesota. So we went from Dalvin Cook being like potentially a top 10-ish type running back one season, sometimes even drafted in the top 5, to maybe he has RB2, RB3 value with the Jets, to being a free agent. And now the Cowboys, who just re-signed CeeDee Lamb, have a lot of money to spend on bigger names. Dalvin Cook was their recent signing this morning. So the big question is, obviously, Dalvin Cook doesn't have, he's not the same player that he was 2 years ago. At least the film didn't show it last year. We already know the shelf life for most running backs starts to occur at this age. This is where things start to go off the rails for running backs. But he's also in a running back room where there's not a Breece Hall. There's not just this significant level of talent that's better than Dalvin Cook. We have Ezekiel Elliott, who's presumably going to be the starter, the workhorse in, between the trenches. We have Rico Dowdle, who's made some offseason noise as far as being in a committee, just because there's really nobody left in Dallas. And then obviously Royce Freeman was a name that Stephen Jones, the VP of the Cowboys, talked up. He was cut. So now the team brings in Dalvin Cook, who is still a talent. Dalvin Cook, in my opinion, is still a talent. He didn't have the opportunity to show that last year behind a bad New York Jets offensive line and with no quarterback play. Also went to the Ravens last year in the playoffs. Showed a little bit of juice in the playoffs, but it wasn't enough for him to get a spot on their roster. I think Dalvin Cook is a name at this point, and a player that when you go to your drafts, you're going to be like, "Oh, should I take the risk on Dalvin Cook?" Sometimes these names just flame out over time, and I kind of think that's where we're at with Dalvin Cook. Him being a surprise would be like he finishes in RB3 flex territory. That would be the Dalvin Cook that you get. But in our minds, we're like, shit, if I get Dalvin Cook and he's the lead back for Dallas, and that's not how this game don't work like that. There's a reason he was floating around on free agency for a while. There's a reason why he might even be like practice squadish type for this team. Kind of reminds me of like Leonard Fournette last year, right? Everybody was expecting Leonard Fournette. It's this name. When does he get signed? He was just good in Tampa the year before. And what happened? The Bills had other plans. Yeah, James Cook already was their guy. They didn't really get him a lot of usage. Could there be some spike weeks from Dalvin Cook? I think that maybe in the realm of possibilities, we could see a couple nice games out of Dalvin Cook throughout the season. But is he somebody that I would want to roster in fantasy? I'm taking a no on that one, man. And I've been a big Dalvin Cook supporter. So I think at best this Cowboys backfield looks like Ezekiel Elliott gets 50 to 55% of the touches. And I don't think that they're just efficient touches. I don't think that they're really great for fantasy touches. I just think that it's just volume at the end of the day. And it'll probably make him an RB3 when it's all said and done. Touchdowns and just the fact that he's probably going to see somewhere around 200 touches at floor. And then I think of Rico Dowdle, who has the most upside, but then there's also just the fact that he's probably not a good football player. He's probably an average football player. And maybe he's around 150 to 200 touches. So I'm not really buying like a Rico Dowdle breakout. The only thing is if Zeke sucks, then Rico's going to have the world of possibilities at his disposal. And then for Dalvin Cook, I'm not assuming more than like 100 to 150 touches maximum. Even if things played out great for him, he's still got to earn a spot on this roster. He's still got to earn touches. So I think Dalvin Cook is more of a name at this point, somebody that we can look at as, maybe there's some upside. Maybe we get what we saw 2 years ago out of Dalvin. And y'all know I like the older players, but I think we got to be realistic, hone in these expectations, and we got to keep Dalvin Cook on free agency until we see him playing a football game, get meaningful touches, because what happens? You go and you draft him or you pick him up and you're dropping him. You're dropping him literally week 1. If he doesn't have more than 10 touches, you're dropping him week 1. And I don't see a world really where he just comes in and takes 10 touches away from Ezekiel Elliott, from Rico Dowdle. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where I'm at when it comes to Dalvin Cook. So I get you. I get you if you like Dalvin Cook, and I get you if this is a player maybe you're expecting to outperform. For me, I'm out on Dalvin Cook right now, and it's not that I even think it's like a talent thing. I don't think that he's just like completely washed. I just think how you have to be better than the people ahead of you. And I think that's what happens to these older veterans is even a Dalvin Cook comes in. You have to be more explosive than Rico Dowdle. You have to be more efficient than even Ezekiel Elliott, who's been in camp now for the last 2 months, 3 months, whatever it is. So it's not that you're not good anymore, which I think Dalvin Cook is probably decent enough still to play. It's just a matter of now you have to outpace the next player. You have to be better than both of those two to take over a starting role or meaningful touches. I don't like it that way. So I'm out on Dalvin Cook. Let me know what you guys think about Dalvin Cook in the chat. My guy showing some love. Dubs in the chat. Jason, appreciate you, homie. Appreciate you. Yeah, T, you said coming up separate under Nightbot. Yeah, that's fine. I want it that way. So that way it'll populate. So that was the goal is so like if somebody's asking about, hey, where's the Discord? Or how do I become a member? Or if there's anything that pops up like that, we can help out in that aspect. It's an easier way instead of me having to like go and check for the link. Like a lot of people ask for the Discord. You can just put exclamation Discord and it should pop up with the link. Trey said, I don't think Dalvin is as cooked as he's painted to be. Not saying he's a star, but he didn't get a fair chance with the Jets or the Ravens. You know, I kind of agree with this, but then so like I get what you're saying. Like I don't think Dalvin's as bad as he's painted out to be because cooked is an easy last name to like everybody's going to use a play on word. Dalvin is cooked, right? So it's easy like he's old. He didn't play well with the Jets last year, but it's situational too, right? Like the team wasn't good. They didn't have an O-line. And then he went to the Ravens and like had moments, but like he had opportunity. Really, they signed him after Keaton Mitchell went down. And it was like, he really didn't prove nothing there either. So I think that a fair chance, he got a fair chance because you were on the roster for an entire season. You got a fair chance. Now, did he get starters work? No. And he's probably not going to get that with the Cowboys. So unless he significantly outplays the other two people in front of him, this is where I have the problem with Dalvin Cook. I don't think he's cooked either. I agree with you. But I think in order to earn a role on a team as an older running back, you have to outproduce the people in front of you, or maybe we're waiting on an injury. So I just don't see it with Dalvin. Like I understand the name Dalvin Cook, and he's been a great football player his entire career, but y'all know I don't like to give up on old players. And this is the time where like, I'll let somebody else take him. If he's going to be a flex or RB3 on somebody else's team, I think there's so many better options later that have more possibility. And think about this too. Dalvin goes with Dallas. Like, unless he takes over starters work, what's really his upside even later in the year? You know what I mean? Like, is Dalvin just going to carve out like a goal line workload? Is going to carve out like, unless Dowdle goes down, that really, to be honest, Dalvin doesn't really have much value until Rico Dowdle goes down. So, and I'm not sure that they wouldn't go try to find somebody else. For the Money League, do you think you'll be able to see if you can get some other creators or people to do it? I don't know why I'm scared. You know what? I'm not sure. I'm not sure why. A lot of people ask for the Money League. And if you're a member and you want to be in a Money League, we got like 5 spots left. I might cut it down to 3 spots and just make it a 10-team league. But I don't understand. Auction's more competitive. So if you're a competitive fantasy player, like you like playing in Money Leagues, this should be for you. So yeah, I don't know why people are scared of auction. I don't want to change it to standard because I'm not a big standard league guy. I think that's kind of a, especially for Money Leagues. I play in it, but I think that's kind of a cop-out. Like auction, you should be able to do auction. If you know fantasy, and I think my community is pretty I trust my community to be like strong players in their league. I think I would I don't know. I think people can play on auctions. It's just they'll be a little uncomfortable. That's a workaround for the member thing. Yes. So I feel like if I could just post the member thing, exclamation, and then whatever word, like member, I got Discord, and whatever else y'all think we need, just let me know. Let me know. All right, another player that another thing we